Hi everyone, it's Olga from Olga's Flavor Factory. Get out your stock pots or your Dutch ovens because we are gonna make some soup today. I am making chicken meatball soup, soup z frikadelkami as we say in Russian, and this is such a favorite in our family. It's very popular in the Slavic cuisine. We make this all the time. It's so easy to make. I think it's one of the easiest soups you can make. Doesn't take a lot of time and everybody loves it. This is perfect for picky eaters. Kids absolutely love it, but adults, don't you worry. This one is so good. It's really comforting, very delicious. You're gonna love it too. The ingredients we need are super simple. So we're gonna start out with aromatic vegetables, some carrots, onions, garlic, celery. Now celery, we didn't use a lot of celery growing up. I don't think it was a very popular ingredient in the Russian culture, but I love it. So I add it all the time to soups whenever I can. We also need some potatoes, some rice, that's gonna be the base of the soup. For the meatballs, I'm using ground chicken, some breadcrumbs, a little milk to soak into the breadcrumbs, and then some dry herbs and some dry bay leaves, salt and pepper, of course, some butter or oil to saute the vegetables, and to finish it off, we're gonna use lots of fresh herbs. I really think this soup doesn't taste right without lots of fresh herbs. So I have dill, parsley, green onions. You can mix it up and add whichever ones you like. I'm gonna start prepping all the ingredients and I'm gonna do the vegetables first. Half of the onion I'm going to chop up, and then the other half I'm gonna grate on a box grater, and that's gonna go into the chicken meatballs. Grate the carrot on a box grater, slice or chop the celery. I'm gonna saute all these vegetables at the same time. So first I'm going to heat up the pot, add the butter, or you can use oil. Wait for it to heat up, and then I'm gonna add the vegetables. Season the vegetables with salt and pepper and cook them on medium heat until they're nice and soft. If your vegetables are starting to brown too quickly and they're not soft yet, just add a little bit of water in there to kind of loosen it up and give it a little bit of moisture. That way they're still gonna get nice and soft, but they're not gonna burn on you. Sauteing the vegetables is gonna really make the broth a lot more flavorful, because when you're sauteing them, you're bringing out a lot more of their flavor, their sweetness, and the broth is gonna have a lot more flavor than if you just put it in raw and put it in the water and start cooking the soup that way. So that's a very important step in this part. And now that the vegetables are nice and soft, I'm gonna pour in water. That's right, not broth. We're just using water. This is because it's gonna be really flavorful with the vegetables in there, and then the potatoes and the chicken meatballs. It's gonna keep that broth really light, but really flavorful too. Trust me, I use broth 99% of the time in soup, but in just a few recipes, I do use water and it actually tastes better. Season it with salt and pepper. I'm also gonna add some dry bay leaves in here and add the potatoes, and we're gonna cook it at that low simmer covered with the lid until the potatoes are soft and cooked through. While the soup is simmering away, I'm gonna make the meatballs. We're gonna shape them too. Pour the milk over the breadcrumbs, let it soak a little bit. So I'm just gonna add these breadcrumbs right in here, add a little bit of the parsley, season it with salt and pepper, some dry herbs, mix it all together, and that's it for the chicken meatballs. Ground chicken is a lot more tender than ground beef or ground pork, so the meatballs might be a little bit more challenging to make, but don't let that stop you because they are so much more delicious. So I like to use a portion scoop like this, and I like to keep the meatballs pretty small. So I'll portion out all the meatballs with the scoop beforehand, and right before I add the meatballs into the soup, that's when I'll dampen my hands, I'll shape them and put them in the soup. The meatballs and the rice are the last things we're gonna add. They take approximately the same amount of time to cook through. So add the rice, add the meatballs. Keep in mind that the meatballs will expand as they're cooking, so they'll be bigger than what you started out with. Whenever the meatballs start sticking to your hands, get them damp again, and just keep doing that until you have all the meatballs in the soup. At first, the meatballs will sink down into the soup, and as they cook through, they'll start floating up to the top. So that's one of the ways that you can figure out when they're starting to get cooked through. Add more or less water depending on how you like the consistency of the soup to be. So if you like it thick and chunky, you don't need as much water. If you like it really brothy and light, then add more water.
There you go. If you're looking for a perfect homemade soup, this is it right there. So simple, but it's so good, so homey. I'm gonna have a second bowl. This is really, really good.
That's the best compliment you can get. I think you guys will really enjoy this soup. The chicken meatballs in here are such a star. They're so tender and soft. I love them, and kids love them too. So it's a winner for the whole family. Go to Olga's Flavor Factory to get the printable recipe, and I'll see you again next time.
Papa, do you know what Nathaniel once saved me? Actually, a babysitter once saved me from a bee was like right here.
Uh-oh.
And I shared him it could be right
I
here.
remember you told me that.